Merry Christmas to you from wherever you're watching us. Welcome to a special Christmas edition of your must-watch, your must-listen-to program on independent television and radio, Politics Today. There is politics in Christmas, if you know what I mean, but I'm sure that's a subject for another day. On our special edition of Politics Today, we'll be looking at the refusal of President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill 2021. Some of the panelists here actually predicted that would happen, and they've been proven right. And so what's the next stage? What's the next thing for the National Assembly? We gather that some legislators are already gathering signatures to veto the president's decision. But most importantly, what does this portend for the 2023 election? You recall that some time ago, a similar scenario played out where the Electoral Amendment Bill was sent to Mr. President, and the reason given at that time was that it was too close to the election, and so he declined assent. Now, he's declined assent, particularly as it relates to the issue of the mode of primaries from political parties, whether direct primaries or indirect primaries. These and lots more will be x-raying in the next 55 minutes on the program. But let's quickly meet our panelists. The interim chairman of Edo State Civil Society Organization, Bishop Osadolo Oche, is with us in the studio. Bishop, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas to all Nigerians. God bless you.
We also have with us in the studio Prince Roy Oribabo. Is a politician and also a public affairs commentator. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Engineer Esosa Omoegbe is a one-time candidate in the House of Representatives for Igwe-Ikpobaha Federal Constituency. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Sonny, for having me. Thank you, viewers at home, and the compliments of the season to you.
Pastor Sonny Agbe is backstage. Will be joining us when we take the first break on the program today. But let's start off by looking at Christmas as it were. I've heard people say this Christmas is unusual because prices of things are just skyrocketing on a daily. If I say on a daily basis, I probably will be begging the question, maybe on a per second basis. Let's begin with you, Bishop Osai. I mean, you've come a long way, seen several Christmas down the line.
It's not a new language. In my place, a farmer will always acknowledge that last year's farm is better than this year's farm. That the produce from last year's farm is better than this year. And when next year come again, you will also acknowledge that this year's that are passed is still better than the new year. So there is never a Christmas that will come that we will not complain. Whether price go up or price is stable, what is important to us as human beings is our ability to satisfy our conscience. We should be contented.
Okay.
Because one, Papa Idausa told us that when they increase the cost of bread, he said you should not quarrel, don't riot. Ask God to give you more money to buy bread. And there is nothing wrong if we have to cook 5 cups of rice in my house and rice have gone up. I decide we will cook 2 or 3. We manage it, and we are happy. Okay. We have celebrated Christmas. Okay,
Roy, you want to build on that? I mean, some say, well, this is a major fallout of bad economic policies, synonymous with the present administration. Do you subscribe to that?
It's not even about the present administration. Since I was born, issues of Christmas not celebrated have always been an issue. I have never seen any Christmas where people will not cry that things are on the increase. Therefore, it's natural, but it's not natural about Nigeria. And I'm quite very fundamentalist, and Nigeria as a country, you agree with me that there is no strong institution, there is no foundation for this country. The country without foundation, things continue to happen in this way. And that's the reason why some of us we are really very bothered, because price control mechanism in this country is something that is not just there for us. Okay. It's not there and it's not there. You know, You cannot just, my friend told me for the past 5 years, what he have been buying, so he want to buy shaving stick, he want to buy egg, he want to buy, the price remained constant in the US for the past 5 years. It have not changed. There was that show to you that there is an internal mechanism to regulate the price, and the government is very proactive. Those are kind of the government some of us are thinking that we'll have in this part of the world. Okay. We are not getting it. Okay. That's the reason why I'm saying that we need to first of all lay foundation for this country.
Yeah. Engineer Sosa, let's get to take on this.
With all due respect, under this administration, the economy has not been the best, and Nigerians are bearing the brunt. However, it's not peculiar to this Christmas. I think it's been down the line over the years of this administration. But I want to take it from the safety point of view. Let me first of all commend whatever agency that deployed firefighting equipment to the Assent barracks this year. When I was coming, I saw a vehicle, a gas, I think a flammable liquid carrying vehicle fell down there. And I saw a firefighter vehicle there. We got to commend that agency. And also the Edo State Security Vigilante. I'm a critic of this government. But for them to deploy their men there, we also have to commend them. However, I think their commandant should disarm those men, because anything that can ignite the flammable liquid shouldn't be
that's why you have a fire truck there.
Exactly.
The fire truck is proactive.
Yes.
In the event of that, it comes in handy. If it wasn't there before, I would have been concerned, because I drove past there, I saw the road safety van there, and then I saw a fire truck. I was like, I mean, this is unusual. Exactly. I was trying to now analyze the situation. I understood that, okay, well, this is a flammable liquid that could explode at any time if it's triggered. But the fire service truck there will nip that challenge in the bud. So it's quite commendable.
Yeah, it's quite commendable, like I've said. But I think I'm a certified safety officer. I will advise that anything that can ignite that flammable liquid should be taken out of sight, and the gun is one of it.
Okay, well, that's the interesting thing about Nigeria. I mean, you just want to stray away on another issue. You'll be amazed that within the next 2 hours, you'll be on that issue. So I have to get our guys on track so we can stay on course and have our discussion today. President Buhari has declined assent to the electoral amendment bill. Did you expect this? If you expected this, what option is there? Because we're hearing that some national legislators are spoiling for a showdown. I mean, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan has already informed his colleagues the decision of Mr. President to decline his assent.
You see, it's unfortunate that Nigerians are not ready to follow the laid down rules and constitutional provisions. If the president or governor, even council chairman, decide to withhold assent to a bill, there is already a laid down procedure under which it can be vetoed. One, they have right to say, okay, this is the area the president is complaining of. Let us remove this first and rescind the remaining part for him to assent. And if he not wholly reject the entire bill, they have a responsibility to Nigerians, because they are representing us at the National Assembly, to veto such bill. The Constitution is very clear over it, that they have right under certain days to veto a bill that the president withhold assent from. So they have an option. One, they should sit down and look at the area he complained of. This area, can we expunge it? Has he any aftermath effect to this whole bill, that if we remove this, it will destroy the entire system? If it will not destroy it, we can expunge. Okay. But if there is a loophole that it will crumple the whole system, it's better they veto it. Okay. They have the constitutional power.
All right, Roy. PMB's concern is hinged on the mode of primaries. But in not assenting to the bill, other good things, lofty ideas about the bill will also be eroded. I mean, it's tantamount to saying you throw the baby and the bathwater away. You want to build on that, Roy?
No, the issue is very direct. To me, some of us, I faulted the proposal. The bill itself, I faulted it. Because there are many inconsistencies that have no bearing in our electoral process. And that was the reason why I said some time ago that the president I know will not assent to the bill. I thank God that he demonstrated that. How do you, in the country, Nigeria as we talk today, we don't have a workable database. It will take the grace of God for some persons to even know the number of persons who reside in their abode. Why? Because we don't have a base for that. Now, a national assembly that's supposed to be reaching out to the people. Being a member of a national assembly does not make you a demigod. You are representing the people. I expect them to always come back and collect feedback from us. Why will you go to Abuja and be telling us that you want to limit the potentials of political party? I have managed a political party. I have presided over a political party at the state level. I have contested an election, and I know the implication of all those things. For you are telling that you want to remove a responsibility of political party for political party and make it a constitutional matter. That will now lie. You now ask yourself, how do a political party now evolve with time? Those who are in the ruling party today, they want to do that because this is what they will benefit. We're supposed to be thinking about the generality of Nigeria, what will make Nigerians to work. And those are the issues. When I read the position of president, I said, well, very fantastic. I'm not a supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari, but on this, he did a good job. And that review is very necessary. No matter the things we were looking for, the real issue is the management of political party vis-a-vis the conduct of primary. And that direct will not work. I said that day. We have 192 wards in Edo State. We have over 8,000 wards in the whole federation. For somebody to be a governor in Edo State, you have to move. How do you mobilize resources to do that? How do you? And we experienced it in this state before, where they call for direct primary. Discuss. Even I start to be challenged. In my ward, Ward 4, East and Southeast, what to precisely, we did not see anything to vote, but the result was released. Is that the kind of society we want to live ourselves? And that's the issue some of us are saying. What the National Assembly did in that issue was wrong. And President also Buhari was also right to say we cannot do that. Because the real message is that the National Assembly, they are saying they want to hold their governor to ransom. They want to hold the governor. You cannot hold governor to ransom in a system like this. What I expect from them, so that to be collecting feedback from us. When you collect feedback from people you are presiding over, you will know where you are heading to. Therefore, the President Buhari rejecting the bill in entirety is a welcome development. They have to go back and go and rework on it. I'm happy that we still have over a year for election. Okay. Therefore, that is a very sufficient time for them to go back and work on it. The only issue, I supported the result. Electrically, you can do that. That is good, very perfect. Some of us will argue on that, and I endorse that. Okay. For people to say that Buhari have wronged Nigeria, I am surprised that people are speaking of this.
Of course, they have the right to their opinion. Yes, they should look at the intention. Okay, let me pursue there, Engineer Susan. Yeah, you also shared these sentiments about prophesying in the sense that PMB won't sign this electoral. I mean, you'll be proven right. You got something more to say about that?
Yes. Let me first of all, for the very first time, maybe commend President Muhammadu Buhari, for this decision. I believe that he looked at the issues holistically. Now, we've gone through this route before, throwing the baby and the bathwater away. I remember there was a time, I think it was under President Goodluck Jonathan, there was a constitutional amendment process that was set up. And there are a lot of good things, including fiscal federalism, devolution of power, and a whole lot of things. However, they threw that amendment bill away simply because of, I think, a one-term presidency or...
One-term tenure.
Yes, one-term tenure.
Yeah.
Because some person felt that President Goodluck Jonathan would be a beneficiary of that provision. It also happened during the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo, there was some good proposal as well. But again, the third-term agenda scuttled that and they threw the baby and the bathwater away. I was expecting that to happen in this case. There were a whole lot of good things in this electoral amendment act that was submitted. One of them is the issue of electronic transmission of results in real time. Yeah. That would have really helped, in helping our democracy to grow. However, limiting the political parties to a single mode of primaries is totally wrong, however you look at it. And President Muhammad Buhari listed a whole lot of issues. He listed legal implication. I was expecting legal fireworks if he had signed this into law, And also he listed security implication, he listed financial implication and economic implication. And remember that in our last show, when we discussed this, I also mentioned that financial issue and economic issues. As at the moment, the political system is already too monetized. I've participated in direct primaries. I've participated in indirect primaries. Let me cite the last example of the indirect primaries for the House of Assembly. Each candidate in that election, the contestant now, for you to be able to reach each of the 100 delegates that we had in Ego, you needed nothing less than 2 million naira.
2 million naira.
I'm telling you.
Not the election.
Not the election.
The primaries.
Yes, the primaries. Each delegate will at least, for you to even stand a chance of bargaining, we at least collect 20K from you to come to the, to come to the venue. I'm telling you facts. These are not what people will tell you. Now, come to the direct primaries. Outside, the president cited intimidation, security implication. Maybe if time permits, we'll go into all of that. But let me harp on the intimidation aspect of it. There was one primary election that, maybe I'll mention names. I was rooting for a particular candidate.
Yeah, we'd like you to play down the names because they're not here now to be able to respond. Yeah.
Now, I was rooting for a particular candidate and I have to mobilize for that candidate, mobilize party members to that place. Now, it was, and some of the powers that be have been instructed to deliver another candidate. Now, they had the security apparatus to control. And then they told the policeman that they should move Comrade Sosa out of the ground. I was a party member, a carrying party member, So, before you know it, policemen wearing uniform, they came around and said, you have to leave this ground. I said, for what? This is my party. I have a right to vote. My boys had to come that if this man lives here, will cause chaos. You understand? However, some of the women, women they don't have heart. They were already intimidated. And at the end of
the day, ran away.
They ran away and they left.
For their safety.
And for their safety.
Yeah.
Now, these are some of the implications. Beyond that, the security apparatus of the country is already overstretched with the Boko Haram situation. Let's say, for instance, in a faraway remote village in Orion, where maybe security personnel will not be there. And then some of these bad boys, let's not even call them terrorists, they come around maybe to kidnap people, maybe to shoot at people and all of that. At the end of the day, the whole electoral process may even be truncated because there will be chaos across their whole federation. I think the president...
So for you, direct primary is a no-no as far as this conversation is concerned.
As far as this election is concerned, this very particular...
Okay, now let's quickly talk about, before we take our first break.
Nothing is wrong with direct primaries.
Yeah, in itself. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. But let's quickly talk about the implications of all of this, particularly against the background that we know the way we are in this country, the peculiarities, the uniqueness, the way we are, our dispositions. Who can tell that this electoral amendment process will not go through the entire remaining years or months of the present administration with this kind of back and forth movement? So what is the implication?
You see, if members of the National Assembly are honest and they also remember that they didn't elect themselves, that they are representatives of their people in their constituency, they ought to call for a town hall meeting wherein we will give them our mandate on what to do at the floor, whether we are agreeing to that clause or the entire bill or not. But this is a situation where 2-3 persons just sit and they say they have met with us. And whatever 2 or 3 of them agree to is the proposal. So unfortunately, this back and forth will continue until we hold election. Then finally, because the president still have time, when you send it to him, still have time to buy and return it back, raise an issue, he will refer back and amend, he will do it again, then he will come to the clause, is too close to the election. Then when that becomes the final clause, there is nothing anybody can do. Why are you so sure
that's what's going to happen, Bishop Osadoloche? No. Why are you so sure that's what's going to happen?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Why are you so sure?
I'm very sure because it's going to be back and front. Because the people who ought to consult us have not done anything. And there is no such plan by any member of the National Assembly. No plan.
Okay.
So if they don't have such plan, they will amend when they resume, I think whether on the 8th or which day they say they will resume. And they are collecting signatures so far now. And how many of the people that are going to sign for them is another issue. So there is no way they can have the majority to veto the president's position in this electoral bill. Because we know how the system works in Nigeria. It's either by religion or by ethnicity. This thing they are doing is against our culture, it's against our religion, it's against our tribe. Don't sign, no. The people believe.
Okay, right. Take it up from there, particularly on the implications. Well, I'm not so sure talking about the implications for 2023 will be very germane because it looks far away. Yeah. But we also know that activities around 2023 are in top gear. So to say it's far away may not be absolutely correct.
To politicians, it's not far away. You know, the active politicians who are able to hold this country to ransom in terms of their policy formulation. But the issues that I'm very bothered about is that the implication one is that they should go back. When they go back, they should review the process, review the entire process. President Muhammadu Buhari was very detailed and direct in his submission to the National Assembly. I expected to just look at that and work on it. The issue of collecting signatures, as far as I'm concerned, that is the height of, I don't want to use a negative adjective, but I'm aware that they lack the political will to do that. When I saw it, to me, I was even laughing.
They lack the political will to do that. That's already happening. With signatures being collected.
All things you are seeing were just a mere gimmick, a mere fabrication being concocted by some person to give you a sense of belonging that they are serious over it. They are busy doing nothing. Tell me, the Senate president will look at President Muhammadu Buhari, who will be sitting down and preside over a house and will override Buhari. My brother, it is not possible. Let us not deceive ourselves.
So are you saying the Senate president is a rubber stamp?
I am not
the legislature is a rubber stamp of the executive? Is that what you are saying? Or is that what you are implying?
If you believe that adjective is what you want to
I'm asking a question.
No, the issue of rubber stamp does not even... We are in Nigeria. Go to our political history. Our political development, look at it. How many have you seen our senator, legislator overriding the president? I think I've only happened once in the history of this country. Not the kind of system we even have now. That now that our president are so sophisticated, so powerful to the extent that for if you want to even meet with your wife, you need permission. Then somebody will go to our National Assembly and say he wants to override president. It's not possible. They don't need to deceive us about that. What they need to do, instead of them collecting signatures, what they need to do is to quickly go back to the drawing board and do a collation of what we have. So what are the decisions reached? Where are the area President Muhammadu Buhari have reservation? They quickly work on. This is an rocket science. It's not a document. It's rejecting it because of, these are the reasons he cited. I expect the National Assembly to even advance it. You ask one of them, if I've not the opportunity to see any of my National Assembly, I'll be trying to call them. None of this, maybe because of this Christmas, they'll be thinking we want to ask for Christmas. None of this, because I want to ask, how are you going to do this? Why are you deceiving us? They can't do that. Because the issue is very clear and direct. They should look at what kind of primary will be better for a political party. Allow political party to evolve with time. Okay. Well, there is no, let me quickly surprise you now. In the last election that just happened in Anambra State, the APC candidate who emerged, they did direct primary. What was his cause? What was the cause? When they want to remove Governor of Lagos, they did primary. Direct primary. What happened? When President Muhammad Buhari was coming for second term, what happened? They did direct primary. What was his cause? Over 30 million votes. At the end of the day, what happened? Why are we deceiving ourselves? A country that have no data. Okay. Nobody can tell who are really available.
Let me come to Susanna. What's the worst case scenario? I mean, in the event that this bill doesn't see the light of the day. I mean, Bishop Osadolo Oche is a man of God. I mean, he may be seeing things we can't see, maybe prophesying that there's going to be a back and forth, and at the end of the day, this bill doesn't say. So what's the worst case scenario?
If people on both sides of the divide for and against this bill, if they choose to push to the extreme, I see an imminent danger to our nascent democracy. Let me first of all say, the National Assembly members did not do justice to this bill by way of consultation. There should have been adequate consultation, including consulting the president before arriving at the conclusions, if they really wanted to do it.
Consulting the president would mean being at the whims and caprices of Mr. President. No. Maybe people like you also say no. They are a rubber stamp to the executive.
I'm coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This legislation, this present National Assembly, can be described as a rubber stamp National Assembly. That's the truth. When I mean consulting with the president now, I believe that the president has a representative in the National Assembly.
Yes, a liaison officer.
Exactly. Yes. So they should have consulted among themselves, consulted among Nigeria. Beyond that, this National Assembly does not have the political will and the political spine to override or veto the president. But let's assume they do. I will advise that they shouldn't. You know why? Now, there's the executive, there's the legislator. If, let's assume they override the president, what if the INEC comes out tomorrow and say, we don't have the manpower to monitor this thing? Automatically, that renders all primaries null and void if you test it in the court of law. What if the police, the army, they will say, we are sorry, we cannot guarantee security if you go ahead with direct modes of primary. And maybe a governor is supposed to participate, goes to go and exercise his franchise, and something happens. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So if they push both extremes, let's say the National Assembly, they want to stand their ground, and the executive is saying, we'll stand our ground, I can tell you that
the end of our democracy is near.
Okay, let me just take this point before we take a break. Pastor Sonny will be joining us shortly. In a sense, would you say the stance of Mr. President is victory for the governors? Because there were a lot of governors who were very vociferous about their position as it relates to the mode of primaries, insisting that indirect primary will be. I mean, we've heard people saying that, well, the governors are going to seek the audience of Mr. President, and eventually Mr. President will toe their line. Is this victory for the governors?
No, I don't see it as victory for the governor. To me, it's victory
for the people.
Exactly, it's victory for democracy. It's victory for the people, because the president has the constitutional right to either assent or decline assent. So he's not at the whims and caprices of the legislator as well. So he has his mind. He said in his opening remark, I mean, if you read his opening remark, he said he consulted with ministries, agencies, and relevant stakeholders. He also said he took a look at it himself. You understand? So I don't believe that is victory for the governor. I don't believe he actually danced to the tune of the governors. However, I am very convinced that he looked at it holistically, and this is victory for democracy.
All right, thank you very much. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. President Muhammadu Buhari's refusal to assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill 2021 is the focus of our special edition of Politics Today on independent television and radio. We'll take a short break. We'll bring Pastor Sonny Aigbe to join us now, and When we return, we'll also be open our studio line so you can call and let's get your views, your opinions on the conversations. Also remember that you need to turn down the audio level of your television or radio to remove the echo. And then secondly, ensure you do not cast aspersion on anyone, whether in the studio or outside the studio. We do not entertain names calling. Just go ahead and make your contribution in a very short, simple manner, because several others are waiting on the line to be part of the program. We'll take a break now. We'll be back with you on the program. All right, thanks again for staying with us on the program, Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. We've got Pastor Sonny Aigwe, all the way from Sapele, joining us live here in the studio. And it's always a delight to have you here on the program. I believe you've been following, Merry Christmas, first of all.
Merry Christmas,
yeah.
God bless you.
I believe you've been following this conversation, the debate about the electoral amendment bill and President Buhari's refusal to assent to it, and returning it back to the National Assembly for further consideration. What's your take?
To me, I'm not surprised because this electoral act bill is between the politicians and the public. And if you look at it carefully, you will know that this is the mind of the public, and this is what they want, and to the few politicians also support. But there are people in the system that are comfortable with it even when it is bad. That is the major issue. You expect You expect something good. We have to grow from particular stage to one stage. You establish a system, you allow the system to grow. That is how it is in Europe. That is how it is all over the world.
Okay.
You see the Electoral College in America, they grow. You don't keep a system dormant or you stop thwarting the effort of a system. That is what we are experiencing today in Nigeria. For you to see that this thing, to me, I felt that they are working on us. They are giving us job to do. Because you have intelligent men in Nigeria. They are not dollars. The Senate, you set up a committee to God to look to this electoral act. Do you know these people they are making, they are just playing on the public of Nigeria. They are playing on us. Because these things cannot be, if you take you years to prepare this electoral act, and you have been working on it time to time. When did it took the government, the president, to notice all those things? Do you mean those people who were prepared, they didn't see all those things? To me, I felt that the same people who forwarded it, put a note on the end. These were the things, these are the lapses, these are the points that we should raise. Nigeria can even govern, can do well in other countries better. And we still have such people. Set up a committee that will be able to raise a good electoral act without any problem. And be able to get it less than 2 months, 3 months. You will get it. But to me, these people are not serious. They are not serious. That is the basics.
Okay. Thank you so much. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Beautiful Saturday morning, the 25th day of December 2021. And this is wishing you once again Merry Christmas and thank you for joining us on this special edition of the program. Well, let's come back to the studio here, Bishop Osadolo Oche. So what's the way forward with what we have on the ground, the president on one side, or the executive on one side, the legislature on the other side? I've heard people say, well, for once, we have seen the separation of powers coming into play. Do you subscribe to that?
Sonny.
Yeah.
There is no separation of power.
Why do you say that? The National Assembly
The
proposed something,
of
Mr.
power
President,
is
did he
only
assent to
in
it?
document and not in practice in Nigeria. Now, those who are saying we are going to veto, they have their own reason. They are also seeking for relevance. Now, Engineer Sosa mentioned security just now. They are all politics. If we are going to do general election, is there any village we don't have polling unit that people come out from to come and vote? If we can guarantee that there are villages that have 3-4 units, and people will converge there to vote, and the vote will still count. Why can't we think that if these people converge in a place in one ward, that this vote will still count? But these are the people that can probate and reprobate. They are the ones that will send you threat insecurity against you to make their claim established. That, oh, why the governor was going, hoodlums challenged him on the road, they were one shot that made him not to go. I've told you people that this thing won't work. That is the mindset. Like I said, the people there are playing game with us. They are not ready to help this country. Right. Because from the foundation, legislative business is consultative business. As long as they are there without consulting their constituents, we will always end up like this.
Roy, is this a demonstration of separation of powers between the executive and the legislature as it's turned out now with this electoral bill where you have Mr. President declining assent?
Separation of power. In democracy is very relevant. It's one of the fundamental principles, of democracy. Therefore, in an arrangement like this, there is no even talking about separation of power. It's not even the issue. In the first place, there is nothing separating anybody. For the past two, if you are in this country, I've seen the Senate president all the time rushing to, I want to see Mr. President. We have seen it severally. The House of Rep, the Speaker House of Rep, they are always in Nassau Rock. What is so special about this issue we are now discussing? Who are we as a people? We must define ourselves as a people. We're four of us, we are sitting down here in this studio now. If we have something to share in this studio, if the formula is so comfortable with any of us, you will not remember that I'm an Okodama.
You are correct.
You understand? Therefore, who are we as a people? Is it not the electoral act now where everybody say we have to reform our electoral? Is it not the same electoral that Ikube government president was defeated in this country? And the city president was defeated. All of us, we were happy, we were jubilating that this is the best election that happened because Ikube was defeated. What is our problem in this country? These are the issues we need to let us even interrogate ourselves to know if we ourselves we are ready. That was the reason when my bishop was talking about they will come and send insecurity. Now, how does a political party operate? How does it work? You cannot be discussing democracy without giving regard to political parties. Why will you sit there anywhere and say you want to castrate a political party? You want to reduce the working ability of political
parties. Maybe because political parties over the years, they've not been forthcoming in strengthening democracy through their defined roles, duties, and responsibilities.
How do you define,
the emergence of candidates, the emergence of aspirants of political parties. How do you define
political parties? In this country, how many persons pay due to political parties?
Why are they not paying?
Why would they pay? Because the power that
who is supposed to enforce it?
The power that
government will enforce it.
Yeah,
or the political parties supposed to enforce it.
These are the issue. When we were growing up in Nigerian political development, in our history, political parties were the management of political parties were made superior to the executive.
Yes.
We have the executive power.
To the governor
or the government. We recall, I can still recall vividly when Ali was the governor of Dose. He was never the political leader. Shagari was the president elected in this country. He was not the political leader. Obasanjo came in 1999 and introduced this thing that a governor is not a leader of a political party. A president is not a leader of a political party. Yes. Then what do you expect? It is the president that will finance a political party. It is the governor that will finance a political party in the state. Then somebody, that was the reason why when you were asking whether it's victory for the governor, I laugh. Who are those? Is there a decision a president of Nigeria, as powerful as president of Nigeria, would take without consulting with the governor? And you know aware that the club, that 36-man club, they are stronger than any other institution.
Oh, is there a 6-man club?
36.
36-man club.
Yeah,
okay.
They are strong. It's a very strong club that nobody did there. We are seen as powerful as a president, former president Obasanjo. He did the governor's forum. Did he survive it? You cannot just, there are things we need to look for. That's the reason I said, Gradually, our political parties and our political system will evolve. When they evolve, we will start getting where we are supposed to head. A situation now, you just wake up and say, no, let's limit a political party. I've taken all the histories. I've taken political parties that are doing well in the country. I've never seen where you will limit a political party. Even the US, we are copying, it's a decision taken by their political party. This is what we want to do. And the reason why they are getting it is because the process is there. The data is very strong and reliable.
All right, let me get
the issue.
Pastor Agbe, what you make of the feeling that political parties haven't really lived up to expectations in terms of deepening democracy, and that seems to be the reason why you have this sort of backlash, particularly from the proposal by the National Assembly to adopt direct primary compulsorily for political parties?
Yes, to the fact that if you look at it very well in Nigeria, the political parties we are having now, you have to look to the foundation. Because if you sell or you want to look at a good structure, it is the foundation. How did we get to this level? How did we fund our parties? How the parties were actually established? On what ground? On what benefit? To whom? Who are the leaders? These are the things we should check. Because if you look to our political parties, they solely rely on the president. That is the truth. What happened in South Africa, can it happen here? What happened to Zuma? It was a political party that withdrew Zuma to God. This is South Africa that we helped yesterday that we are talking of. Where is the political party in Nigeria? APC became the worst. PDP we were trying before. We were trying to put some system in place whereby you see some governors will say in 100 days is office, this is what we do. And you see this is not just issue of question of a political leader opinion. But today we are seeing the issue of political leader opinions, at least a supremacy, working at every area. This is what is said. This is what we do. So the something now is telling on the masses, telling on the nation, and we have not been able to establish a good government with this kind of political parties. That is the truth. Why some people cannot vote for other parties? Because the two political parties, they have made a decision and they have come to a level that no matter what you support other parties, you are wasting your time. And the only thing that will be able to change people's mind is what we are talking of today, this electoral act. These are the things that we give people come up to say, if I vote, it will count. If I go to do you know that on the election day you cannot even see the elites? You cannot see the those who are supposed to be in the feed. Those they share salt to, those they share rice to, those that they promise to give for 500. Is it the true people who are mature to vote, who are really the elite, who are supposed to be on the feed to decide for the country? Go to the electoral ground and see on that day. So not until we put a solid structure on ground to convince a man, to convince a lecturer, to convince educated people that go to the field, your vote will count. And this is why we are here today. So they know what they are doing, but they are listening to, they are at home, we are appealing to them, let them have a change of heart. Okay. It's time for we to build Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you just joined us, it's State Politics today on independent television and radio. Our studio number is open now, so you can call and be part of the discussion. Like we always say, avoid calling names, be brief as possible so that others waiting on the line can take their turns. Do not cast aspersion on anyone in the studio or outside the studio. Be civil in your language. Very, very important. So we have our first caller on the program.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Professor.
My name is Dr. Open Secret, the radio professor and the Assent ambassador to the whole world.
Dr. Open Secret, Merry Christmas and go ahead.
Thank you very much. So my point is here, I would may want to differ with your guest in the studio. Now, my point here is that if we say that the people belong to the people, that the people is the owner of the government, I think the initiative of the senator, the National Assembly, to say that we will have a direct primary, I think is the best option. That is where the people can actually feel the impact of the party. For example, godfatherism is being perpetrated seriously by way of indirect primary, where you select delegates. And who are those who select delegates? The godfathers that go who select delegates by way of the executive members of the party, and so that you can be a member of a political party since 1999 and you have never participated in what now? In the nomination process.
Yeah. So
somebody with a fast over to go there and collect all the money, collect all the, we know how much they share for them. Sometimes they share, we hear they share dollars and what have you. So nomination, so they lodge them in the best hotels and what have you. At the end of the day, they say, Atalifo. Then they come and tell us at home that we should go and vote for this person. Then so the party, so we let people own the party. The idea of money back coming to take over a party and begin to distribute part general election day. But I can't party belongs to the people, members are made to pay levies. The party will have power.
Okay.
So if you are saying that insecurity, this and that is just an escapist theory. Because we do election, even on election day, some of the police that are sent to the polling booth, they have no backing. So it is not even the last this period dispensation, this one body election, they will even carry themselves that they are democratic because they are doing direct primary. But all members of the APC people they participated in the nomination of President Muhammadu Buhari. But today now, let us take it. People cannot run parties their place. If you cannot spread across the nation, there is another party. In America, they are talking about, we have smaller parties there. They are never contenders of presidency. But during the election, they have a way of coalition.
Okay.
So that,
okay.
So you don't only a political club.
All right, Dr. Opusikwe, let me pause you here because I know that several others are waiting on the line to take their turns. Thank you very much. But before we take the next call, I mean, Dr. Opusikwe just raised a very fundamental issue. If you're saying party election is about people, democracy is about people, it's about numbers, it makes more sense when you allow more people to determine who represents a political party rather than, that's too direct primary, rather than leave it at the whims and caprices of the godfathers in the political parties to decide who emerges.
Open secret is aware that all these issues we have passed through in this country. Political parties in this country have used direct or indirect method. We have seen everything. What the point we are raising is that don't limit political party. Why will you limit the political party? Are there not see party today in Nigeria who are doing direct primaries? I don't see party in Nigeria today who are doing direct primaries. I don't know party in Nigeria who are doing a consensus.
Right, let's take this call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning.
Yes, your name and where you calling us from?
I'm from Benin. My name is Abraham.
Abraham, please turn down the audio level on your TV set to remove the echo.
I want to thank you for the open secret.
Thank you.
The problem we have is what the national assembly want to resolve. I'm a pastor, we have been praying, don't want to use them. You see, the father of this country, the governors, they tell the senators, they tell the member president, I mean, the Nigerian national assembly representative, they do the president. They have been enough. Look at the state. The government with the local government and nobody will talk. So they pressurize the president. All Nigeria, oh God, they will support. They will override the president and English. So if they are not in direct primary, let them be the nation of Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It's getting more interesting. I mean, you can actually feel the passion with which our last caller spoke. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. I'm Ede, calling from Benin City.
All right, please go ahead.
The issue of president not assenting to the bill is something that APC, they know what they are doing. They put that controversy. Remember, before that bill was sent to president, there was already a controversy. They know that when they put that controversy, it will delay the time for the president to assent to that bill. Mind you, even if they correct that place, they will remove the transmission. Remember, it was transmission first before they now say primary second again. Yeah. When they put the transmission, they now put the primary. That means if they are removing primary, putting indirect primary, that means they will bring back the no transmission of results. So APC, they know what they are doing. I'm not the president did not disappoint anybody by not signing the bill. Assuming he signed it, he would have disappointed so many people. He would have disappointed me personally for doing good things. But it's a pity that he has a little opportunity to have written his name in a golden pen, but the opportunity is still going by. Why? Because he would have assented to that bill and now sent amendment to that particular clause. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. 052-290-573 is our studio number. You got it already. Tell us your name now and where you're calling from. Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Good morning. My name is the voice of the people for the people.
The voice of the people for the people. Where is the voice of the people for the people calling us from?
I'm calling from Idowina in Novia Northeast.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you to my brothers and my daddy over the studio there. Compliment of the season.
To you.
You see here, our political party of these days, they don't have political will. During the days of UPN and MPS, if you listen, any state after that time you go, that is ruling by UPN, you see free education. Any state you go that is ruling, governing by NPN, you see housing estates. Those people, after them, they have the political will. The party we are having now, the political party we are having now, do they have the political will? Then, the problem we are facing now is started from our past president, Olusegun Obasanjo. You don't take the power of the party to the governor. That is where we start the problem. The governor now becomes semi-god in the presence of everybody, which is very bad.
Okay.
So we have to go back to the drawing board and correct all those abnormalities so that we can get it right when you talk of political party in this country. That is just the truth, my brother.
All right, thank you for your contributions. 052-290-573 is the studio number. Please, when your call goes through, endeavor to turn down the audio level on your television or radio to remove the echo so we can have a meaningful conversation. Just some few minutes before we call it a wrap. We're actually on the last lap. We'll take our last call. Good morning, caller. You're our last caller for today. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, good morning. We can hear you loud and clear. Okay, we lost that call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning. What's your name? Please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio.
Okay.
Okay, that's the much we have for you on the program today. Just take one second, please, to do a wrap on your expectation. Hello? Yeah, good morning, caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Okay, that's the last call today. So, yes.
I want to appeal to the National Assembly that they should go back to their constituents to consult with their people. They should call a town hall meeting where people will make their own input, so that they will submit same to the floor.
All right.
That will be transmitted into bill.
Right.
I think I have to appeal to Nigerians. It is Nigerians that will fix Nigeria. For we to be able to fix Nigeria, we must fix ourselves. How do we fix ourselves? We must be very disciplined. We must believe that we can do what is right. How come we can't do what is right?
Pastor Agbe.
We thank God for today. The issue is that if we are really want to build our nation, we can do it. But what is happening today is that people who fought even as far to Kofab, people who are standing against truth, they should have a change of heart.
Okay.
To build back our nation.
All right, thank you very much. That's a package for today on politics today on independent television and radio, a special Christmas edition. We hope you enjoyed it while it lasted as we analyzed the challenges inherent with President Muhammadu Buhari's decline of assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill 2021. We hope that the National Assembly will go back to the drawing board and look at the issues raised by Mr. President and do the needful so that that bill can be passed. A lot of lofty things about the bill, particularly as it relates to electronic transmission of results, and then, of course, accreditation of voters. I mean, we just heard of a new innovation in the last election that has been a major talking point, and that's the Anambra governorship election, been a major talking point. Some of the innovations there, we saw it, we heard about them, but we need to build on the successes recorded, and that can only happen where we have the enabling law, and that is where the Electoral Act 2021 comes in. So we expect that the National Assembly members will do the needful, rather than grandstanding and trying to flex muscles with Mr. President. They should go back to the drawing board, look at what is in there, and do the needful so we can have a great election come 2023. I want to say big thanks to everyone that made the program a huge success. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, wishing you a Merry Christmas. In a moment, we're bringing you Christmas Ibadan 2029 edition, just to prep you up for today's show, which is taking place in Glasshouse Airport Road, Benin City. Remember, for about a year, we've not had a major event at our corporate office, Glasshouse Airport Road. This is just one opportunity for you to reminisce and to enjoy the Christmas in a special way. Gate fee is just 500. We are very considerate. We recognize the economic situation of the country. That's why we don't just change prices at will, like some others are doing. So go to Glasshouse with your dad, with your mom, with the children, even with your grandmom. There's a place for you to have fun. Merry Christmas, and stay with us as we'll bring you Christmas Ibadan 2029. Happy viewing.